Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem HaKadosh. Say double honors to our apostles and elders here at Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the Lord's hopefully elect. I stumbled across this video yesterday. I should preface this by saying that this actually has nothing to do with the title, because the title says Morgan Freeman decodes the mark of the beast. But they actually don't. They actually don't. But they talk about the number of his name when you read Revelation 13. And I just thought it was pretty interesting. This video was put up 9 years ago in 2016. And thought it was pretty interesting as far as what this woman is going to say. But this has nothing to do with the mark of the beast, just as a preface.
I've come to the Biblioteca Castelnatense near the Vatican to meet an expert in early Christianity, Kim Haynes-Eitzen. She tells me she has compelling evidence that reveals the identity of the beast. Good morning. So, what exactly do we have here?
Well, I've been looking at some fragments of the book of Revelation.
The book of Revelation.
That's right.
The book of the end of days.
The end of days, the apocalypse. It's a prophetic book. It's got loads of symbolism, but it's also very much a political book and making a political claim about the cause of evil.
The cause of evil.
Or who's responsible for evil.
So tell me about this coding, because as I understand it, the Antichrist was given a code, so they would never call his name. They would just say it by the code.
Well, there has been a lot of debate about what this number, in particular 666, who it refers to. There has also been a strong argument made for 666 referring to Nero.
Nero was emperor of Rome from 54 to 68 AD, around the time when the first Christians began to arrive in Rome. So, how do you make 666 translate to Nero?
When you apply numerical values to the name Kaiser Neron and you add up those numbers, you come to 666.
In ancient Greek and Hebrew, every letter had a corresponding number. If you add up the letters of the name for Emperor Nero, written in Hebrew, Kaiser Neron, the total comes to 666. But Nero is just one of many names that can add up to 666. Kim believes a later copy of the Book of Revelation, found in an archaeological dig in Egypt, confirms the beast is Nero.
One of the interesting things about these fragments is that we've got two different numbers.
What are those letters?
Chi is a 600, Xi 60, Sigma a 6, 666. This one over here we have a Chi Iota Sigma 616 with a line over the top.
Why is it different?
You might think that this number destroys the possibility that it could be Nero.
Yes.
What's striking about this is that it may help to confirm the identity of Nero, because this would be the number that we would get if we spelled Nero according to the Latin spelling, Nero Kaiser.
Okay.
Without the N. The letter N represented 50, the number 50. So 666 minus 50, 616. So we just gone.
Subtract, and we're going to come up with 616, and we have the...
Like I said, the title has nothing to do with the mark. Like even the first comment says, I like how the title says Morgan Freeman decodes the mark of the beast, when all he did was show up and interview someone. Exactly. Now we know that these Christian scholars, they don't actually understand the book of Revelations. Nevertheless, that is, I would say that's pretty interesting, right? Because when you go to Revelation 13, it's funny how that name is, everything is linked to the end. How is Nero constantly being linked to the end? See, that's spiritual. You know, it was Elder Pastor, the first one that I heard say that Trump has to be Nero. I believe first he hinted at it. That might be Nero, but as time progressed, he's like, yeah, that's definitely Nero. Now, that's the spirit that revealed that. And then I watched that video, and isn't it funny how everything is linking towards Nero? And Nero, as we've said, is Donald Trump. It was Elder Pastor is the first that I've heard say that. And we believe that through the spirit, and it's just more and more evident that Trump definitely has to be Nero, and definitely look like him too. Definitely look like him too. Now, Revelation 13:18 says, "Here is wisdom, let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666." Now, again, these Christians and the people in the world, they think that the Antichrist is one person. They think the beast is one person, but it's not. The beast is the system. The beast is you could say, the Roman Empire system back in full effect. The Roman Empire today. It's the data representative of that is NATO and the EU, and America is a part of NATO, which is why America is the whore that sitteth upon the beast. That's why the scripture says, who will make war with the beast? You got to remember the North Atlantic Treaty was originally formed. The North Atlantic Treaty Organization was originally formed to combat the Soviet Union, which was Russia, which in the scriptures is known as Gog. But since the USSR, that has been disbanded back in I don't know the exact date, NATO still stuck around, and NATO grew even stronger. So you have to ask, why does it still exist? Well, it's for prophecy's sake, because Ezekiel 38 prophesies of World War III, which is going to include Russia, which is God. What I always like to say is one of the next major moves that we're waiting to see happen is when Turkey leaves NATO to join with Russia. That's prophetic. It's literally Ezekiel 38. Is when it says Gomer and Tagomar is going to join the bands with Gog. You look up an ancient map, that landmass is referring to Turkey. You say, well, wait a second. Turkey is a part of NATO, which means Turkey is an alliance with America and an alliance with the state of Israel. Well, that's why the prophecy says that eventually Turkey is going to have to leave to join hands with Russia. And aren't they not already talking about that? But it's going to happen. That's what is going to be initiate the World War III. And the beast, right, is going to try to enforce his image on the whole world, which the image today, the modern word would be New World Order. But it's actually just the Roman Empire system back in full effect, complete control. You do comparisons and parallels from America to Rome, you see that they're going back to that style, which is you had the emperor who hold all the power. It went from a democratic to an emperor. That's why Trump, he's trying to set himself up as an emperor. He wants to be a dictator, where everybody in the land of Rome surrenders their power to the emperor. It's not about freedom. It's about control. They're trying to bring that all back in full effect. That's why you got Republicans and Democrats, which is plebeians and patricians. You have a Senate. All these things, they literally got from the beast. That's why they said, let us make an image of the beast. And then, of course, he has his mark, right? We know what the mark is the RFID microchip. Goes right in hand in hand. You have to understand the image to understand the mark. So if you deal with the number, the 666, people often ask, well, what's the 666? Well, it was the apostles, elders that brought out that. Now, I don't believe you could find this. It's not visible anymore because they were found out. But you have that 3 barcode. If you type in the 3 barcode, on the barcode, there was always a 666 in the beginning, middle, and the end. It's still there. It's just now it's not visible because at one point you could actually see it on the back of everything that you bought. But because they got exposed, you could basically say they take the numbers out. But yes, in the Greek, when she's 666, it is shy stigma. The Greek word.
Strong's G 5516. Chi, Xi, stigma. chi, psi, stigma.
And you can highlight that word sigma. I'm sorry. Yeah, you can highlight that word stigma, which is a Greek word, which can be found in Galatians 6:17, where Paul says, "From henceforth, let no man trouble me, for I bear in the body the marks of the Lord Yahweh Shai." He's talking about physical, beatings and persecutions. And that word means a mark. Okay, I should say this first. It says from primary stizo, which means to stick, i.e. prick. It says a mark printed in or branded upon the body. To ancient Oriental usage, slaves and soldiers bore the name or the stamp of their masters or commanders, branded or pricked, cut into their bodies to indicate what master or general they belonged to. And there were even some devotees who stamped themselves in this way with tokens of their gods. So this is the word that John the Revelator used. So what he saw, this is why we say that what he saw was something physical being inserted in the body of humans. Psi stigma. Everything is pointing to some type of incision or imprint upon people. As he says in verse 16, and he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. And that word, their mark, is charagma, which also means a stamp, an imprinted mark, to brand their slaves. This is why we say they plan on making you slaves by making you digital slaves. And to solidify your allegiance to the emperor, to the beast, to the system, you're going to have to take that chip, that mark, and that's going to forever, their goal is that for to be your ever way new of life. Every child you got born, they're going to make a chip, him or her a chip. They have to take the chip in order to survive in a society. So now you're all forever slaves. You get a digital, you get an allowance every month by way of the digital currency, and they get to monitor. If you say too much, they'll deduct. If you buy too much meat, they'll deduct. If you make a post that they don't like, they'll deduct. That's what, to keep you in slavery, to keep you in line. It's starting with the digital ID, and then eventually they're gonna force the real thing. The real thing. So according to her, Kaiser Nero, the name of Nero, if you add his number up, it equals 666. Well, if you want, you could say that's an addition to Revelation, because isn't that something how Trump, Nero, is being revealed, and you could basically say more than likely the last emperor of the society. Why is everything constantly pointing to Nero? And do you think they understand it? They're like, why? I think Nero, he must be the image. Well, let's just say you're right. Let's just say you were right. Is Nero, is Nero going to raise from the dead? Or is Nero already here? We believe Nero is already here. And you can go check our videos. Before Trump even got in office, we told you he's going to be in office. We told you he was Nero. We told you he's going to bring back the death penalty. Go check our videos. Amos 3, verse 7. Surely the Lord Yahweh will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants the prophets. NLT. Indeed, the sovereign Lord Yahweh never does anything until he reveals his plans to his servants the prophets. Who was given that revelation of Trump being Nero? And why is it that just watching a random video regarding Revelation 13, Nero is linked, and Donald Trump is back in office? That's a revelation from Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, indicating that, man, this got to be the guy that's going to enforce and bring about that microchip. It's got to be him. You see, do you hear any other Israelite group going into this topic? They're not concerned about Trump. They're not concerned about the White House. They're not concerned about any of that. All they care about is their community and making ways to make money. They're not looking at the end times. They're not looking at what this man is about to do. They're not looking at Donald Trump to see, his policies. They're not doing that. But Great Millstone, we are. I believe that's the Lord letting us know that we are living in the end of days, and that this man, I mean, we know we're living at the end of days, but that's just kind of it's got to be more proof that this man has to be the one to bring about the new world order. And what are the things that the reason why we highlight Nero? Okay, so since the Spirit revealed through Apostle Elder Tar that Trump has to be Nero, what then caused us to research Nero and to find out? Well, he was really known for doing a few things, but he was really known that relates to us. He was known for doing one thing, and that's persecuting the Christians. Nero, Antium Latium, died. Let's see, it says, was the 5th Roman emperor, stepson of the heir emperor Claudius. He became infamous for his personal debaucheries and extravagances, and, on doubtful evidence, for his burning of Rome and persecution of the Christians. I believe that's what he did. He lit the fire to Rome, and he burnt the Christians. Nero's history is that to deter the people's attention, he would do something extreme. Like he would kill, there was one house where he would kill all the slaves because somebody got assassinated, and because there was protests, he decided just to kill all his owner slaves. That's just his way to try to appease the people. So he's known for doing extreme things to deter attention, and that's what he did when it came to the Christians. He lit the fire to Rome, and he believed, and because he was getting too much attention, as a way to throw the attention off, he said he put the blame at the Christians, the believers of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, so that he himself, so they could take the attention off him. That's exactly what Trump do today. All he does is blame shifts. The government shut down, Democrats. He just kept repeating that. It's over and over and over. But everybody knows it's not that, because the last time the government shut down, you was in office too, and you did it again. But that's what he did. When those Epstein files keep getting brought up, he even dropped names the other day. You really don't want to go into those files because you got this person's name in there, you got that person's name in there. So that's what he does, to throw attention off. So you know damn well when the time comes for him to be, he's going to be responsible for the downfall of this country, the downfall of Babylon the Great America. And what he's going to do, he's going to repeat what he did before, and he's going to put the blame at the feet of the Israelites. He already did, didn't he? Doesn't he already say that the reason America is ruined because of illegal immigrants, our people? That's what he does. He's going to do it again. The man that did it before is back in office and back in power, and he's going to do it again. I'll read it again, but it says, the great fire that ravaged Rome in 64 illustrates how Nero's reputation has sunk by this time. Taking advantage of the fire's destruction, Nero had the city reconstructed in the Greek style and began building a prodigious palace, the Golden House. Had it been finished, would have covered a third of Rome. During the fire, Nero was at his villa at Antium, 35 miles from Rome, and therefore cannot be held responsible for the burning of the city. Supposedly, it says, but the Roman populace mistakenly believed that he himself had started the fire in Rome in order to indulge his aesthetic tastes in the city's subsequent reconstruction, which I believe that's what he did. Isn't he knocking down the half of the White House to build a ball? Yeah, he's responsible, man. It says, according to the analysis of Roman historian Tacitus and the Nero of the Roman biographer, Nero, in response, tried to shift the responsibility for the fire to the Christians, who were popularly thought to engage in many wicked practices. Hitherto, the government had not clearly distinguished Christian from Jews. Almost by accident, Nero initiated the later Roman policy of half-hearted persecution of the Christians, in the process earning himself the reputation of the anti-Messiah in the early Christian tradition. And in the other article, it tells you that the extent that he went, it was just to get the attention off him. So he's going to do it again. He's going to do it again. The book of 2nd Esdras 9, verse 5. Start at the top. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then thou shalt understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then thou shalt well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the beginning that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. Okay, the end is manifest. Definition for manifest: clear or obvious to the eye or mind. Clear. Verse 7 of 6. Even so, the times also the highest have plain beginnings in the wonders and powerful works, and the endings in effects and signs. This is one of those revelations. So as you know, it was Elder Apostle, I believe, Ramlab, that broke down that even Babylon the Great, when you add up its number, it equals 666. So that number 666, that is the number of a man. It's found on the barcode, because that's really what it's talking about. It's on the barcode, the 3 barcode 666. And then look at that, more discovery, right? Not only is Babylon the Great in the Hebrew add up to 666, but even Kaiser Nero number adds up to 666. So this is plain wonders and plain endings. This man, Donald Trump, has to be the man that's going to bring about the New World Order entering into the microchip. Shalom.